welcome to Life Coaching on the Move. I'm your host, Dawn Fiske, coach, trainer, speaker, podcaster, YouTuber. Welcome along. I'm so pleased that you're listening to this. Thank you so much. I know there's a lot out there you could listen to. There are lots of previous episodes in the back catalogue if you want to catch up. If you're new, I would suggest that you go to the first 10 in the series rather than go to the last week's and the week before's and work in reverse order. You would get a much better idea of my coaching strategies by working from the first 10. But any will all have helpful advice on all sorts of things like resilience and mindset and mood and emotions and anxiety and health and balance and thoughts and goals and all sorts of subjects. So please do feel free to contact to have a listen to all of those. Today we are talking about the fact that it is 28th of December and we've got New Year, we've got 2021 looming. We're in the midst of COVID right now and we've got January and February winter approaching. And so today is all about strategies ready to get you through January and February in a good mindset, good mood, good emotions, minimal anxiety and strong with determination. So there are different strategies. You may want a pen and paper with today's podcast, actually, because I give you some headings of some activities to cover. So I really hope it helps. The last thing to say really is visit the website for all sorts of things. Workshop dates starting next week. Life skills and confidence, and also there's a stress management workshop. So if you have a little look there are also online programs in advanced stress management and also a time management program there. So www.milestone-coaching.co.uk. But I think we should just crack on with this week's episode of Life Coaching on the Move. So what date is it today? It is the 28th of December. We got past Christmas. It's behind us. We coped with it. We're through it. So I think this year was going to be a challenging year for most. It's COVID. Most of us are in lockdown, no matter where we are in the world. I think it's fair to say that most of us have not had the Christmas we had planned or hoped for, but it's behind us. So, no matter what happened, who you did see or weren't able to see or how you coped, hopefully we'll never have a Christmas like that again in the same restrictions and facing the same anxieties and uncertainties and restrictions. So, congratulations for getting through that. We now have the new year ahead of us. So normally, as most of my regular listeners will know, I love to take a bit of a stock check. I just naturally find it an opportunity to reflect on the past year. And my word, what a year to reflect on. Much of it out of our control. Not all of it. Not by any means all of it, but the situation was largely out of our control. And the future still is unpredictable, unknown and uncertain. So what can you reflect on from this year? Now, some people believe in writing New Year's resolutions. Some people write goals for their next year. They look back on the past. They look ahead at the future. They make plans, and there's nothing wrong in that. Equally, if you're not a person that likes that, then that's your thing too. We're all different, and I think it's okay. It's okay to all be the way we are. Not force anybody to do things that just don't sit comfortably with them, particularly in the climate at the moment. There are enough challenges as there are. However, I would just like to throw into the mix, though, that if you've always done the same thing over and over again, you are always going to, or more likely to, get the same results. So could it be a time for doing something different? Could it be a time for, if you haven't previously reflected on the past year or years, could it be an opportunity to try it and see with an open mind and a growth mindset? All of which, as you know, I strongly promote and support and believe in. if you don't normally write goals for the forthcoming year, could this be a year, an extraordinary year, for you to try to do that? So that when things are more in our control, you're ready. You hit the ground running. You know what you want to aim for. You know why. That's an important one, knowing your why you want to aim for it. And it could be that this year your plans and hopes and dreams are very, very different than normal and previous years, because we have really, my word, I have said in the past, it's good to have a bit of a shake-up. It's good to, those little snow domes that the children have, that little town, a little ornamental town, and they shake the little plastic snow dome and the snow settles or all lifts and then settles differently. That's how I see coaching, actually, or my method of coaching is to shake everything up and let it settle in a different way, or throw your pack of cards up and let them all settle down, and what have you got? And in some ways, that is exactly what 2020 has done for all of us, whether we had wanted it or not. It has shaken so much up for us. It has changed the way we work. It has changed the way we exercise. It has changed the way we socialize. For many of us, it has changed our lifestyle and our routines. For many of us, it has changed our priorities and what's important to us. It's changed our family dynamics. It's changed the way we interact at home and our routines at home. It's changed the way we learn. It's changed the way we shop even. I now, more often than not, will do click and collect if I can, than browse around a supermarket, because for me, I just feel I'm exposing more risk if I'm browsing around a supermarket. So if I can, I will do click and collect. I don't go around the shops anymore and window shop. I do much more walking out in the woods with the dogs, or with an audiobook, or with a podcast, away from the crowds if I can. So much has changed, hasn't it? And hopefully much of that is for the better. So what has changed for you? So I thought what I would do this year. Last year I really pushed the idea of perhaps trying new things for this year. I mentioned that I often in 2019 set myself the task, I think it was 2019, of trying 19 new things. I had hoped to do that in 2020, but unfortunately we weren't able to go and see different comedians or different shows or different concerts. Go to different countries. We didn't do any of that. So we were scuppered in a certain way, but we tried other things more local. So it's just changing and flexing and adapting to our circumstance. And in so many ways that has made us more resilient, stronger, tougher, happier, less stressed, calmer, healthier, fitter. So there has been some good here. So I really do suggest and promote the idea of reflection, because it does help. Just a week or so ago, I think I was struggling. My anxieties were really, really high. I think just before Christmas, my poor running friend came out for a run just before Christmas, and I think we were both looking forward to it. It was fairly rainy and cold and wintry, and we had our dogs, both of us, with us, and I just, bless her, I offloaded all of my worries and concerns and frustrations with what was going on in the country and the world and the pandemic, and all my worries and fears and insecurities. And I admitted to her at the end that I think it's not born about by the fact that I was in a mood or grumpy or down. I think it was born about by the fact that I'm afraid. I admitted to her, scared of us in the family having COVID. Well, I'm scared for anybody, but I had, for the first time, I think, probably admitted that I'm fearful of it coming into our home. I'm fearful because Neil, my husband, is 63. I don't know how he will fare with it. I don't know. He's older, so it frightens me. Hopefully he will be all right. He's relatively fit and well and healthy, and there's nothing wrong with him. He hasn't, had a day's ill, but it frightens me. It's the unknown. It frightens me how I'll be if I were to get it, because I equally don't know how my lungs would fare after 10 years ago having massive clots on my lungs when I was ill with something else in hospital, and a byproduct were huge pulmonary embolisms that I had when I was in intensive care. And I don't think my lungs have ever been the same since. I regularly struggle to catch my breath or breathe, much of which I think probably is anxiety related and panic. But I don't think they've ever been as strong as they were then. And so, of course, it frightens me. And so once I'd offloaded to my poor friend, I felt a little bit better. But it was things keeping me awake, that the fear, the worry, the anxiety, how the R rate was going to go up, the new COVID strain, the variant that we've got, it being much more infectious, all of that was dragging me down. The worries, even the lorry drivers parked outside Dover, and the fact that would they miss Christmas, were they all right, what if they got COVID, who would look after them? They were in their cab stuck away from home. They'd been here delivering us supplies, and yet they were now stranded just before Christmas. They didn't, it seemed on the news, to be receiving any food, water, toilet facilities. I just stay awake worrying about everything. Was dragging me down, everything. I was watching the news at night because I couldn't sleep, which was feeding it. All the things I say you shouldn't do, I fell into that trap. But then it was announced that they had got tests in Dover, and they were beginning to move the drivers through and get them home, some for Christmas, some on Christmas, and some just past Christmas. But that was solving itself, and I just felt so much relief for them. And they'd been receiving supplies and food and hot meals and things, and all that looked so much more improved. And then it was announced that Boris Johnson had managed to get us a trade deal, and so that felt so much better. And of course we went into much harsher restrictions where we weren't allowed to mix for 5 days, we weren't allowed to mix for 3 households, and I have to confess to being relieved about that. I was so fearful of how the R rate was going to go and how the infection was going to spread widely if we had done that. So it felt a lot better. So after offloading to a friend, I felt much better. But I did hit probably the lowest through all of this of anxiety and concern, and a feeling of, God, how are we ever going to get out of this? It now, just a few days later, by me focusing on the good, focusing on the fact that we've got a trade deal, focusing on the fact that the lorry drivers are moving again, and so hopefully we won't have all the doom and gloom and worries that they were saying in the media again, feeding us these thoughts. Would we get supermarket supplies? Would our shelves be empty? Etc. All of that has gone out of the media now and seems to have gone. And there is now talk that the Oxford vaccine will be out very soon, in the next day or so, and so we can start getting the big stadiums and football pitches or sports areas all ready with people. They're able to vaccinate hundreds of people per day here, and nursing homes and NHS staff, and really start rolling out the vaccine programme. And so we've been in lockdown now for a few days. We've had our Christmas Day, and now we're all in much tighter restrictions. So hopefully, coupled with the vaccine coming out, coupled with my daffodils are shooting. They've come through. It feels like spring is not far away, although it is snowing outside as I speak, and it is grim. It's snowy, rainy, sleety horribleness. Yesterday was glorious weather. It feels better. It feels, in just 1 week from how I was feeling just before Christmas to how is this ever going to get better, and how are we ever going to get life back to normal, to now feeling the daffodils are springing, the vaccine's just around the corner, the spring will be here, and naturally the R rate would go down anyway in this better weather with the vaccine, with the treatments, and with our social distancing and our restrictions and our lockdowns. Then hopefully we are turning a corner. Hopefully things are looking better. So globally, I feel a sense of relief. I feel a sense of real optimism, and I feel much better. But I had to focus on the good. I had to make myself focus on the good. I could still focus on the bad. I don't want to. It was a horrible feeling. It dragged me down. It stopped me sleeping. It was horrible. Really unpleasant. It was unpleasant for those around me and my poor running friend. Now I feel a lot better. So this is what we can do, isn't it? When we're all allowed to feel down at times and despondent and despair and frightened and anxious. And I've said before, the sumo guy says we sometimes need to be that hippo wallowing in the muddy waters. We need to sometimes wallow that, and we need to sit with it and learn from it and feel it and accept it. Then the choice comes to how soon do we want to get out of that mud and quagmire and despondency and shake ourselves off, dry off the mud, shake off the mud and move forward. And luckily for me, it was literally just a day or so, helped enormously by the turn of events in the world, the trade deal, the lorry drivers luckily moving on and going back to their families and so on. But we have to also make that happen for ourselves. So I have done lots of walking outside every single day, spending time at home with the family and just quality time, and appreciating actually the sleeping in the morning, the less of pressure, the less stress, and just taking time to slow down really and to just be present in the home, at home, and just enjoy that. Just enjoy leisurely lunchtime with the kids or watching a film without any pressure of I need to get on and do the ironing, or I need to get on and send those emails, or I need to get on and do some coaching or write some slides or whatever it is. So I hope that you too have been able to do that. Just have some time, just have a little bit less stress and a little bit less pressure. And I know a lot of people still work over Christmas and they're not so fortunate to be able to have time off, or they haven't been able to be with family in that way. But I hope whatever your circumstances, you have managed to find some laughter, some relaxation, some joy and some fun. And looking forward, how is it going to be? And I've been looking at different things that I've been working on in my reflection. And I thought I would just share a few of those with you so that maybe a couple of these could help you. I've often mentioned the power of journaling, or the power of writing down your emotions and your feelings and your worries. And some of the headings that I've found and I've used myself have really, really helped. Give you food for thought, give you direction and some structure to your journaling or to your reflection and your thoughts. One of them that I really, really liked, that I found really powerful, was the exercise where you list all the negative events in your life that, on reflection, led you ultimately to positive changes in your life. So this is one exercise. So now I'm going to list a few things, a few exercises for you to do. So you might want to pause this now and grab a pen and paper and actually write these down and spend some time, while we've got some time on our hands, doing these activities. So that first, let me repeat that. List all the negative events in your life that on reflection have led you to positive changes in your life. It could have been a really painful breakup in a relationship, but when you look back, it led to a much, much better relationship, much more happiness. Could have been the loss of a job, where you were made redundant or you were turned down for a role, only on reflection to find that you got a much, much better role, one that you love, with a group of people that you love, and responsibility that you love, so much more fulfilling. It could be things like that. Or even this last year, what negativity in this last year has on reflection led to some good? Has it been that you've managed to turn it around and lose weight or gain fitness or not have to get on the hamster wheel of a commuter train into London every day, and now you're at home, or you were in lockdown and furloughed, but you used that time and redecorated your whole house, or done some home improvements, or you've now got a big vegetable patch and you're growing your own veg, or whatever. So what negative events in your life on reflection led to positive changes in your life? So spend some time on that. Really spend some time. Don't just first focus on the last year, because I think it will be really helpful for us all to take some positive and find some positive in this last year, but also beyond that, because it helps us. We can bank those, and it will help us in the future to know that it's okay even when negativity comes your way. I think I mentioned just a few weeks ago that I had tried to go for a role, a part-time role in addition to my coaching, but it was just a role that jumped out at me that I really wanted to get, because it seemed to be everything that makes me come alive, really. It was coaching young graduates, career coaching young graduates sort of at the University of Winchester, to help them to get their next role, to help them move on and get employment from their degree. And I went through the whole process and had a long interview and had to do a presentation. And long story short, I didn't get the role. Somebody else was already working in further education and knew a lot more about it than I did, specifically about further education and employment opportunities and graduate schemes than I did. Which is fine, that's absolutely fine. But I was really disappointed, because I'd put all my hopes into that. I really did get excited by it and really looked forward to actually doing the role. And however, I've also over the last few years have passionately wanted to get into search and rescue work, voluntary work with my dog. And the first time I tried this was a few years ago with my first dog, who we lost 3 years ago. I volunteered then, but unfortunately she was too old. She was, I think, 4 or 5, and the dog has to be under 2 for the training to start, because it's a long program. So I couldn't do it with her. The second time I approached it was with my middle dog, Millie. But then at that time they weren't taking any more volunteers. They were oversubscribed and they weren't recruiting, so the timing was poor from their side. Now we've got the third dog, the new pup, who's now 9 months old, and she is an absolute delight. And I reapplied a couple of months ago, but of course because of COVID they haven't been able to do any training. And just this week I received an email saying they are now looking into launching the training again, but they're going to do quite a lot of the theory for the human search and rescue element, the first aider response, the first responder part of it, the navigation part, lots of the theory they can start to teach via Zoom. So they can start doing that now, ready for when lockdown is finished, we can start doing the physical training. And I'm so excited. So it seems that the third time lucky, hopefully, fingers crossed, it might happen if it all works out. My son said this morning at breakfast when I was chatting about it, he said, "See, Mum, you weren't meant to get that role at the university, because now you're free to be able to do this." And he's so right. Sometimes, as disappointed and gutted as I was at the time, there's a reason for it. And sometimes those negativities or rejections, or whatever you want to call them, disappointments, later on they lead to better things. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this will lead to something that I am even more passionate about. So have a little go at that exercise. Then another one that you can do, write this one down. List moments in your life when you felt proud of yourself. And proud of yourself, not just about winning a race or whatever, but small things. Things such as when you didn't give up when it got tough, but you kept going and you saw it through. that you kept optimistic when everybody else around you were getting despondent and down? Have you been the person through lockdown that's kept everybody cheerful? Have you been the one that's kept in contact with everybody and made sure your elderly neighbour's okay, or your older auntie or somebody like that? Have you been the caring one, even if you've been fearful? So what things about you? I think that's how I see this activity. Moments in your life about you that you felt very proud of yourself for. Yes, it can be achieving a marathon or doing some charity work or whatever. And I have to say, there have been some fantastic human acts through this year. Captain Sir Tom Phillips, is that Captain Moore? No, what's his name? The elderly chap, 100 years of age, who raised so many millions of pounds. There's 80-year-olds that are rowing in tin rowing boats that they've built themselves. There's 80-year-olds that are sailing. There's elderly ladies climbing the equivalent of a mountain up and down her stairs with a walking stick, slowly but surely, a little bit every day. Young children, toddlers. There have been some phenomenal feats this year of kindness and of charity work and of fundraising and of support. Just incredible feats of human spirit. So have you done something like that, or something small? Have you looked out for people, looked after people, kept people going, looked after your colleagues, cheered them up, even when you felt you've needed to be cheered up? What have you done? And beyond this year as well, so reflect beyond that. What prior to that? Who have you looked out for? What have you accomplished? What have you got over? What have you got through? Little things and big things, but they're all things that you need to feel proud of yourself for, because we so rarely pat ourselves on the back. We so rarely feel proud of ourselves. We spend a lot of time feeling proud of other people, and that's great too, very powerful. But we equally need to do that for ourselves. We equally need to become our own friend and our own supporter, especially at these times, because sometimes we are alone physically and emotionally right now. So if we can do it for ourselves, then that's a powerful tool. And now we've got January looming. I'm very mindful that we've got January, and January generally is a difficult month. It's a dark month, a rainy, windy, blowy, gaily, depressing. We're often short of money. We often don't socialise very much. There's often not much going on. And the winter blues can set in, and it's dark nights, long dark nights, etc. Those are on a good year. Those are without COVID and without lockdown challenges. So I think it's worth spending time listing the top things that make you feel better, so that you can go to them, your top go-to things. So your favourite song, your favourite music, what can that be? What, when you put it on, makes you dance around or bop around your kitchen or tap your toe or whatever, or sing aloud along to it? Or if you're in the car, when it comes on, you turn the volume up by yourself and absolutely belt it out. Which of those songs? List those down, and maybe put together a little playlist of those, so that when you're having a tough time or a low moment or a quiet solitary evening and you're by yourself, you can put that on, turn it up and have a good old sing song or dance around the room. Who of your friends make you feel better? So when you're feeling it's a long night or a horrible, bleak, miserable weekend in January, Zoom them or FaceTime them or whatever. Do a fun quiz, not a general knowledge, boring, hard quiz where you come out feeling rubbish. That's what my feeling about quizzes. A jokey quiz, fun quizzes. With fun rounds. You can get loads of those on the internet. There's loads of them, They don't have to be heavy going and serious. They can be really light-hearted and fun. So which of your friends cheer you up, make you laugh, upbeat and energize you and recharge you? What are your favourite episodes of your favourite TV shows? What always makes you laugh? repeats of Gavin and Stacey, or I don't know, what was your favourite thing that you watched last year? Normal People was the most streamed program last year. Afterlife, so many people talk on Twitter about Afterlife, both series 1 and 2. Such a feel good, funny, sad, emotional, just every emotion in that program possible. What was your favourite film? What film makes you laugh? What film makes you cry? You know, have a list of those, so that on those taxing days, those tricky days, or long, boring, wet Sunday afternoons, you've got things you can do. You can put the music on. You can contact those friends. You can put those TV, Netflix series on and just watch a rerun of them. Put together a list of ones that you haven't yet watched. Send out a message to all your mates. What's your most recommended thing that you've watched lately? Box set, films, documentaries, books that you've read, audio books you've listened to, podcasts you're listening to. But send out a message and find out what they are and get them downloaded. Get some audiobooks downloaded, get some podcasts downloaded. Get a list of things ready so that you can get through January and February and the lockdown and the winter blues really well, and actually turn it round so you make it fun. You're prepared. You've got to get some tools in your toolkit. You've got to get some armoury ready and get through it. Not just get through it, not just survive it, but actually thrive in it, actually enjoy it. So maybe write a list of tasks that you want to achieve. Do you want to put pictures up, framed pictures up on the wall? Do you want to do some artwork on your walls, get some paints in and do some lovely artwork? Do you want to redecorate a room? Do you want to move your furniture around? That's quite therapeutic, just moving your room around and your furniture around. Do you want to tidy up some drawers and cupboards and wardrobes? Do you want to get rid of some clutter and change some ornaments around? You know, just things that make our spirit feel better, our soul sing. Do all of those in January and February, and get outside and get your wet weather gear. Even if you have to get some old secondhand stuff from eBay or something like that, get some wet weather trousers and a jacket and get outside every day if you can. Another one that you can list is the most important events in your life that you're grateful for. What are they? So having an attitude of gratitude is really lifting for your spirits, lifts your mood. If you focus on what you've got, i.e. what you're grateful for, then you can't be focusing on what you haven't got, and therefore how down you are. So we've got to train our brain to think about the things that help us. So having an attitude of gratitude and listing out in life all the things you're grateful for, from tiny things. The sink in our bathroom has not been working for months because it's disconnected basically. We couldn't get access to it to change the pipe. And my husband has been promising to do it, and he's tried and it didn't work, it didn't fit, and then he tried and that happened and this happened and anyway, so we haven't been able to use the sink. So if we do use the sink, the water just gushes out all over the place because it isn't connected. So I've got myself a handwritten note saying do not use, just so that I don't forget. And so I have to brush my teeth hanging over the sink, hanging over the bath or in the shower, whatever. I can't wash your hands if I've just done, something that I just want to rinse my hands for. I have to go to the bath instead, or the shower instead, or whatever. So it's a slight stone in my shoe. It's annoying. And the other day I came home and Neil dramatically came into the bathroom while I was in the bath and went to wash his hands, and I instinctively shouted, no, don't use the sink. And he did it on purpose, because what he hadn't told me was he'd fixed the pipe. So he demonstrated rather than tell me. So I was quite excited and quite grateful. And I remember that night thinking, the one thing I'm grateful for today, my sink. It felt so much better just to be able to brush your teeth there and wash your face and things like that at the sink as normal. And I hadn't been able to do it for months. It wasn't a big issue, but I do remember fleetingly thinking, wow, the thing I'm grateful today, bathroom sink. So it can be tiny things. Your electricity can go out for a few hours because you've had bad weather and Storm Bella or something, and when it comes back on, you appreciate it so much. At last you can make a cup of tea or put the TV on or whatever it is that you've missed, and you're grateful for your electricity. But ordinarily we just take it for granted. So it's so nice sometimes just to appreciate, I don't know, your wireless headphones because they're so easy, or the electricity, or the toilet paper, or the sink, or hot water. And that's another one when you run out. Last Christmas, we ran out of oil just over Christmas, and so we had no heating and hot water other than the backup. And so when the oil was eventually delivered on about January the 4th, something like that, I recall, we were so grateful. It felt so nice. So it's those things that we take for granted that are the small things and also the big things. What do we appreciate in life? What are we grateful for? And if we focus on those, we feel better. Just saying them, just thinking about them. Yesterday, we had been told that we were having Storm Bella through the night, and so I expected yesterday to be a complete and total washout, and yet it was glorious sunshine after Storm Bella down here, and I was not expecting it. So all day I just kept saying, guys, just glorious. It was so nice to get out and walk the dogs and actually feel sun on your face, really properly feel sun on your face. And it was a bonus because I wasn't expecting it. I should have probably watched the weather forecast and then I would have known. There you are. Should feel grateful for the weather forecast, shouldn't I? And also list people that you're grateful for. Not only people that you've got in your life, but also people that you've never met. Why are you grateful for them? Have they inspired you or taught you something? Or have you read about their story or their actions or heard about them on the news? Or, I've never met some of the charity people that just have so inspired me this year and put a smile on my face and cheered us all up because it's been good news despite the bad news. And so, there are so many people. If we can focus on all of those good things and all of those good people and good events, it definitely boosts our mood. So, going through January and February, even if you decide not to write goals, which I would recommend that you do, because it is very powerful, but if it's not your thing, I do, as a result of today's podcast, my key takeaway from today is let's get through January and February well. Let's get through in a strong way, in a focused way, in a driven way, a determined way. Let's not just drift through it and hope we come out the other side. Oh God, thank God for that. We're in March now. Let's proactively work through January and February with a good mind, a good mindset, a good mood. Let's write things down. Let's focus on the good. Let's reflect on the good and the helpful. So list those events that have led to positive changes. List the moments in your life when you felt proud of yourself. Every day, write down the things that you have that day that you're grateful for. So do it on a daily basis as well as a long-term past reflection. Do this daily. So you could list things on that day that have been positive, because it may be that the day's not a great day, but there will be some great things in that day, some good things in that day, even if it was one surprise phone call from somebody, or bumping into somebody at the supermarket that you haven't seen for ages and just having a little catch up, even if it's with masks on and things like that. So there's always something in the day that you can be grateful for, or a person that you can be grateful for, or a news story that you've read, or a book that you're reading. Prepare yourself with things like those lists of music, songs, books to read, audio books, things to do, people to reach out to, hobbies, things you want to do, maybe art, craft, creative things, recipes you want to cook, rooms you want to decorate, stuff like that. Just write yourself lists of things like that, things to do. Little things to do over weekends. Prepare yourself for those weekends if you're by yourself, with actions such as change the layout of the bedroom, move the bedroom round, whatever it is. So that each day, each week, each weekend throughout January and through into February, you've got things to look forward to, even if they're within your home by yourself. They are things to look forward to, and they are things you can physically tick off, feel proud about. That's more things to add to your things I'm proud of list. And you find things out about yourself. You feel stronger, you feel more in control, you feel more optimistic, and a sense of achievement. All of those things are good for our soul. All of those things are good for our mood, and will speed the January and February winter blues risk. That it will reduce the risk and speed up the process of coming through to the spring. Before we know it, we will be in March. The nights will be lighter, the weather will be warmer, the flowers will be out, the green leaves will be emerging, our health will be improving, and everything will be better. COVID hopefully will be a lot better. The economy hopefully will be a lot better. Maybe the shops will be open more. We'll be able to get out to the pubs a bit, maybe in small groups, or go to each other's houses in small groups. Who knows? We were maybe in tier 1 by then, or no tiers maybe by then. Who knows? But nothing lasts forever. This will not last forever. And we just need to put things in place to make it more bearable, more fun, more manageable, more just make our life easier. We're in control of that. We're in control of our mood. We're in control of our emotions. We're in control of what we do. And I know that I want to be able to make January and February a good couple of months for me with a sense of achievement. And I'd love you to join me and to make that happen too. Don't forget, you can always share your thoughts, your successes, your approach, your achievements and your strategies with me. Just drop me an email. I'd love to hear from you. And I do hear from some of you, and it always makes my day. So the email address is dawn@milestone-coaching.co.uk. Drop me a line, share your experiences with me. There is on my Facebook page, Milestone Training Facebook page, which you can find through the website. If you're in my Milestone Facebook page, you can click to join my confidence group, which is interactive and you can get involved. So become a member of the confidence group and share your thoughts there, and other people can share theirs, and we can become much more of a community together. So the website is www.milestone-coaching.co.uk. So the last thing to say is that on the website there are 2 workshops looming. The 7-week Confidence and Life Skills Zoom course starts in a week on Tuesday evening, Tuesday the 5th of January at 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. for 7 Tuesday evenings. That's British summer time. So 7 p.m. Tuesday, 5th of January is a 7-week course, life skills and confidence. Come along to that. You can sign up through the website, or on the Thursday the 7th is a 3-week stress management Zoom course at 7 p.m. British summer time. So have a look at the website for those 2 workshops. They are literally starting in a week or so don't miss out. So I was going to say something. I think it was about the workshops. The last thing to say, of course, is we've got New Year looming. So I wish you all a fantastic New Year's evening celebration, seeing in the new year. And I really genuinely hope that 2021 is a fantastic year for you and your family, and all your hopes and your dreams. I hope it's a cracking year for all of us. And let me know, share it with me. I'd love to hear from you. All the best, and I look forward to talking to you on next week's episode of Life Coaching on the Move.